All right. So welcome to the team call for May the 12th, 2015. Tonight we're going to talk about gyms and basically it's personality types. Danny Johnson refers to it as gyms, and we'll get into that in just a second. Quick couple house cleaning or one house cleaning thing to just get out of the way. I have a coach in South Carolina named Marianne Babin, who's on the NC Fit Club coaches page, who's decided to sell her summit ticket. So if anybody wants to get up with her, message her or tag her in a post in the NC Fit Club coaches page if you want to get a summit ticket and try to go to Tennessee with us. There's a lot of us that are going to be carpooling and going up there together, and then driving up there and driving back from Charlotte. So those of you in Charlotte, hit her up, whatever, and then that's it.
Yeah, and I think there's actually a lady on Dave and Monica's team in the Fit Club Diamond group that needs 2 roommates. So if anybody doesn't have a roommate or needs a place to stay, I guess let me know and I can give you her name.
All right. So tonight, John and I were talking today, and actually not technically talking, texting, and we wanted to start getting into the forming process and building relationships with people. But in order to do that, one of the things that you do, I'm going to unmute you, John, since you're so loud with your vertigo. Oh, dear Lord, you almost fell off the chair.
Shit's real, yo.
We're going to talk about tonight is gyms, so that we want you to understand, and there's actually some really good stuff, and this is actually going to be kind of a fun call, where you actually can learn something about the person that you're trying to build a relationship with. That's really distracting.
Sorry.
Can you just go back?
Sorry.
So you actually learn about the personality types and who you're dealing with, so you know how to build a relationship with that person. So if you can grab a piece of paper, I want you to draw this on a piece of paper. Just draw a big plus sign. And we did this in the Coach Basis group, but we're actually going to go into more detail. So you guys, some of this you've heard that we're in the last Coach Basis group, but a lot of it's going to be new to you. In these four lines, at the end of each line, I want you to, and we're going to talk about each one, but up here at the top, write sapphire. On the left one, write ruby. On the bottom one, write emerald. And on the far right, write pearl. Now I'm going to go over these, and then I'm going to explain a little bit more in detail, and John's going to do a fun exercise if he stays conscious enough and doesn't pass out on me. There's 2 things. There's 2 books that I highly recommend that you get. One of them is Danny Johnson's First Steps to Wealth, which is an amazing book.
And can I say that this book is technically free, and all you have to pay for is the shipping on her website.
Is she still offering that?
I think she's still offering it. But if not, it's very cheap.
All right. The other book, which is nothing but what we're going to talk about tonight, is called Personality Plus by Florence Littauer. And it's the exact same stuff. The language is just different. Instead of using gem names like ruby, pearl, sapphire, and emerald, he uses very strange names like powerful cleric, something melancholy, peaceful melancholy. Anyway, if you end up buying that book, I'll tell you which one's which. But the personality traits are the same. So let me just read to you. I'm going to pull off a couple of things out of this book to help you understand. And we've been to several of Danny's stuff. And gyms, and I think John will agree with me, gyms is like a game changer. At least it was for us. Because once you understand how to talk to people and connect with them, it makes this business so much easier.
And it takes practice. It takes practice. You got to take some time to learn it.
It really does. And it's like, because you got to remember, you can't change who people are. You can just better understand them. And that's why this is so important, that when you're talking to somebody.
And it's good to start with family, like your husband, your wife, your kids.
Yeah, it works with your husband, your bosses. She talks about how you can use it in the workforce to get promotions, and whether you're a teacher or a bank teller, or it doesn't matter. So we'll start with the Sapphire Gym. And if you want to take notes, you can kind of write underneath each name what their personality traits are. Sapphires are motivated by fun. They love socializing. They're the people that are – here, let me read. I'm going to read the stuff that John was just telling me about. Where was it, 98?
Yeah, those are the examples of it.
Oh, okay. So sapphires are people that are usually unorganized. If you walk in their bedroom, they've got 2 pile of clothes. They don't know which one's dirty, which one's clean. So they have to smell them to figure out which one they're going to wear. When they pack, they're going to trip, they just throw shit in their suitcase and they just don't care. They usually wear a lot of bright colors. They're very outgoing. They never meet a stranger. They're very, very social. They love partying. If it's fun, they want to be involved. If you start running numbers and talking analytical stuff to them, they're going to tune out and they're going to think it's boring. They're usually the people you'll see. They make amazing teachers. They're usually in marketing and advertising. They're very creative people. You'll see them in jobs like pretty much anything that deals with the public or being out there and dealing with people. A sapphire is going to be involved. Emeralds. Let's see. So let me read this. Sapphires are the life of the party, and they always have parties. There was around a lot of people. And you can always spot a sapphire by what they're wearing. They're very vibrant. They wear a lot of bright colors and that kind of stuff. They like to be seen. Pearls. Pearls right here are people that want to help everybody. They usually have jobs like social workers, or some teachers fall into the pearl category as well. They're very loving. They always put other people in front of themselves. They're very passive aggressive. They don't like a lot of conflict. They don't like to confront people. They usually end up becoming human doormats because they let people take advantage of them because of the fact that they always put people ahead of themselves. They're very nurturing. They're very caring, just amazing, peaceful, quiet people. Let's see.
Dry sense of humor.
They have a very dry sense of humor. They'll spend a lot of time talking about their families. They love to talk about people they care about. They're usually sharing personal information when they're getting to know somebody. They appreciate a personal touch. They sense when someone's being fake and will lose trust in that person. Most pearls like easy listening music. The idea of a party is to them, the idea of a party is like an intimate dinner. They're not going to be someone that goes out in big crowds. They like to be more one-on-one. They prefer making a contribution with a one-on-one conversation. They're very trustworthy and loyal and very true to their word. Emeralds at the bottom. Emeralds are motivated by facts and figures. They're very, very, very analytical. John is a ruby emerald. I don't know which one he's more of, emerald or ruby. It's pretty 50-50, isn't it?
I'm more emerald.
All right, and we'll get to that. An emerald is always on time. An emerald will always get annoyed at you if you load the dishwasher the wrong way. Everything has an exact system. They have calculated how the cups fit in the dishwasher. They know exactly how it should be. And if you don't load it the way they load it, they just sit there with disgust on their face because why can't you figure out what they've already figured out, because they know the perfect solution to get everything in the right order. Their suitcases are neatly organized. Everything's packed and ready to go. Sapphires are the opposite of pearls. Or the opposite of emeralds. So emeralds and sapphires are usually polar opposite people. Emeralds always see the glass half empty instead of half full. They can be a little bit pessimistic. They can, let's see what else. They're not great in communication. They get judged as being insensitive and cold-hearted, even though they're not. They are very articulate. And if you listen to them, you'll notice that they speak in a rhythm. They're very clear with their speech, meaning they're going to make sure you don't misunderstand them. Insurance agents, accountants, lawyers are usually emerald people. Their emeralds are constantly going to ask you why, because they want to know the science and the method behind everything. People who talk with emeralds think that they're being interrogated or proven wrong. They feel like they can never win an argument against an emerald. And the truth is you can't win an argument because both parties walk away thinking they won and the other one is stupid for having lost. Emeralds spend a lot of time on research. They're very diligent solvers. They come up with 12 options for solutions. This can frustrate a lot of people, that kind of stuff. So that's how emeralds go about life. Everything's fact-based. My stepdad is a hardcore emerald. Before he buys anything, he researches it for 2 weeks. Emeralds do keep their word. You can count on them. When they say they're going to do something, they do it. They're not flaky. They follow through. They follow up, and they do the task to the best of their abilities. So emeralds are good people to have on your team. They're great coaches. John is an amazing coach because he's very analytical. He knows his stuff. If you get John talking about ingredients and the work, like when he found out that I had a sneak peek of all the supplements that are coming out in July, he wanted me sending pictures of all the labels. And before I could even finish the last picture, he was already replying back with his science about each label. It was amazing.
Just look at his whiteboard behind him.
Just look at his whiteboard behind him. That's an emerald. Look at that look on his face. That's an emerald. Rubies. All right, rubies are the last one. Rubies like to win. They're usually the CEOs. They're usually the people that are kind of in charge. They love a challenge. Rubies are constantly sizing up their competition. When you walk through an airport, it's easy to see who the rubies are. A ruby goes to the airport like they're on stilettos. Let's see, what is she saying? The outfit, they're very dressed to the nines. They like really nice things. They drive nice cars. Everything that they get is always the best. They always consider themselves leaders. They're very outspoken, very bold. They can often come across a little harsh. They're very determined. They always think their way is the right way and your way is the wrong way. They're always pushing a resume and excited to tell you about all their accomplishments. They're very direct and to the point, even if it hurts. They can also be very workaholics. They will usually stay up late, get up early. They were born with a dose of confidence. They're not afraid of taking risk. Rubies need to work on their communication skills. Rubies have to be number one, but pearls just want to help. So rubies, you notice rubies and pearls are opposite. Sapphires and emeralds are opposite. So everything that a ruby is, a pearl is not. Everything that a pearl is, a ruby is not. There's tests that you can do, and when you do these tests and during the gym process, when you're listening to the descriptions, you're always going to have one personality type that is your strongest personality. Your second personality type is usually close behind or very, but it's very rare that I see somebody who's 50-50. So like I was saying that John's a ruby emerald, and he told me flat out, he's like, I'm more emerald than ruby. So emerald is his dominant personality type. Ruby is his second one. Alicia is an emerald pearl.
Yeah,
She's not ruby.
no.
I'm a ruby sapphire. So like I'm hardcore ruby with a little bit of sapphire. I know I'm not emerald because I'm the most disorganized person in the world. So I'm definitely ruby sapphire. The reason why it's good to know who you are from a personality standpoint is because you need to know the strengths and weaknesses of your personality type so that you can work on your flaws in order to communicate better with your coaches and better with your customers. So like when we started doing this research about personality types and I realized how hardcore of a ruby I was, I realized that there were things I needed to work on. Like I was a horrible listener. Rubies don't listen to people because they think they already know it all. Like we already figured out that we know the best way and we come in there guns blazing. Carrie Kravitz was in town and spent the weekend with us, and we were talking, and she was like, I'm so glad that Juan and Alicia are starting to do some of these trainings with you because you're so ruby that you come across pretty hard sometimes. And she was like, it's nice to have the softer approach. And that doesn't hurt my feelings because I'll tell you, that's the way I am. I don't play. Like I just don't. And the older I get and the closer to death I get, the less time I have to play. So like there's things I want to do and like I'm not gonna I want to hustle. And so rubies will have a lot of pearls. Pearls are followers. They like to follow a leader. So you'll see a lot of pearls follow rubies. Rubies get very frustrated with pearls. I have a lot of pearl coaches. And I get very frustrated when I have coaches who let people walk all over them and like put everybody else first and then don't do anything for themselves. And then they wonder why they're unhappy sometimes. It's hard being married to an emerald. And let me show you this. Most of the time you'll be married. If you're married, a lot of times your spouse will be the opposite personality of you. Very rarely will you see two rubies in the same household. If Alicia was a ruby, we'd kill each other. If Courtney and I were married, we'd kill each other because Courtney says she's a hardcore ruby. I'm assuming she's standing by that statement. But like a sapphire and an emerald will often be together, but you'll very rarely see a sapphire and a pearl or a sapphire. I mean, a ruby. Well, let's see. You'll very rarely see a sapphire and a sapphire married to a sapphire, or a pearl married to a pearl, or an emerald married to an emerald, because it's too much conflict or too much alike.
Well,
Go ahead.
yes and no, but I mean, I feel like definitely no two rubies. Two emeralds could probably live together.
You think you and John could live together?
I mean, no, I mean,
Maybe. Okay, maybe two pearls. Yeah, you're right. Two sapphires living together would be cardboard boxes, because you'd be partying all the time and you'd be broke as shit.
and two rubies would argue all the time.
Two
because-
rubies would kill each other.
Yeah.
And they would, and so when you understand, so there's two reasons to understand gems. Number one, what I was just telling you, so that you understand your strengths and your weaknesses. So like maximize your strengths and then try to minimize your weaknesses. The other thing is that you have all four personality types in you. There's parts of you that are emerald. There's parts of you that are pearl. So if you can learn to tap into the weaker personality types that you have, like if these two are my weak ones, and I can try to embrace some of my pearl and embrace some of my emerald, it helps me to communicate with these two people better.
You get a daiquiri in me, the sapphire comes out.
Right, exactly. You get a daiquiri in me, the sapphire, I go more sapphire.
That's true. Cancun was crazy.
It is true. It is true. And the other thing is you need to understand, so there's clues when you're talking to people, there's clues to figure out what their personality type is. Once you know somebody's personality type, you know how to deal with them. If you are, can y'all hear me? Because Courtney's saying she can't hear. Everybody can hear me? Thumbs up? All right. I don't know, Courtney. You can't hear us at all?
If you look at her emblem, it says that it has the no phone symbol, so it's saying that she doesn't have audio or mic.
You might want to call in, Courtney.
Hold on.
Type in there and tell her to call in. All right, she's going. She's probably going to call in.
Well, here, since we got paused, let me stop you for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
That one of the biggest things you're talking about with strength and weaknesses beyond it all, I would say when we did this training, because we did it about the same time, I think maybe 3 months apart, going to Danny Johnson and everything, that our communication between Todd and I improved greatly. And that's the thing. Understanding the other person's personality, their positive things that they really like, that you want to edify, things to kind of stay away from. Because of that, I know how to talk and go, okay, we're going to have a very productive conversation and really move forward in what we need to do. Again, right now, you can hear the cadence in my voice now that you said that. But, and then Todd now, he knows too that he needs to come with facts, figures, ideas, and a detailed plan to come talk to me, because now that's edifying my personality type. And now we're both going in the same direction versus going, and we're going, oh, what? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Right, and then you get out, like we used to get out the phone with each other, or like I'll just use Monica, and I would say this if she was on the call. Monica is the biggest sapphire, and having a phone conversation with her is like herding cats. She's all over the place, and John and I get so frustrated because you can get on the phone with her and actually accomplish 0 to nothing, because she's just all over the place. She'll be walking down the street, see something shiny, and start talking to them, change the topic, or start talking to somebody, and it's frustrating. So like what he's talking about is really good. So let me read some of these, and these are things you can take notes on when you're talking to these personality types. If you're talking to a Ruby, you need to focus on telling them why it's the best, how fast they can get results, how they can get it now. Offer short testimonials. Be results oriented. Keep it concise. Rubies hate long, drawn out explanations. Like they're like, come on, make it quick, make it snappy. I gotta go. I got things to do. Keep putting their goals in front of them. So if you're talking to somebody like a Ruby, if you know they're a Ruby personality, you can say things to them and challenge them like, yeah, I got this Max 30 group going. I just don't know if you're up for it. Boom, you've hit on that challenging button for them. Because if you tell a Ruby that they can't do something, can you hear me now, Court? All right, good. If you tell a Ruby that they can't do something, they're going to be like, oh, hell no. Like, not only am I going to do it, but I'm going to do it the best, and I'm going to beat everybody's time. So always, tell them why what you're doing is the best, because they're not going to do it unless they think it's the best. If it's low rated, they're never going to stay at a 2-star hotel. They want the finest, best things. When you're talking to a sapphire, keep the communication interactive. remember, they're very social people. So if you know you're dealing with a strong sapphire, you've got to make it about fun and how much fun they're going to have, and how amazing the support groups are, and how amazing the people that you work with, because to them it's all about a sense of community and a party and a group,
And the friendships are going to develop.
friendships, communicating off of people. Keep them engaged. Keep your pace at a fairly quick pace with them to help them stay engaged, because they're very ADD and they get distracted really easy. Make it entertaining. So like if you're talking to a sapphire, this is not what you want to do. Yeah, the group is great, and I've got this girl who lost 30 pounds, and it's amazing and it's fun and we like to party. A sapphire is not going to respond to that. If you're talking to a sapphire, it's got to be like, oh man, you're not going to believe this. Like, we got this group, and like they are so much fun, and we do this, and we do these weekly contests, and it's cool, and there's this, and I mean, you've got to make them feel like, oh my God, I'll do it.
Be a part of that.
Now, the thing about rubies and sapphires, they're the two. Really focus on what I'm about to tell you. They're the two easiest personalities to close. And here's why. A ruby will always take the bait on a challenge. We are horrible. I'm saying we as a ruby, we are horrible about getting ourselves into shit we shouldn't get into just because we get challenged and think we need to do it. Like if you came up to me, like we went out to the White Water Center and there's these obstacle courses, and like if you tell me, oh, I don't know if you can do it, I may not want to do it, but I'm going to do it because I've been challenged to do it. She did it to me this weekend. She knows how to push my buttons. A sapphire will always commit without thinking. That's usually why sapphires are sometimes broke or living paycheck to paycheck, because if it's fun and they want to spend money, just if spending money and buying things is fun for them, they'll spend and buy even if they should be saving. That's why a lot of times you'll find them kind of broke. Like sapphires are just kind of party people. They like to spend money, like to have fun, and they will commit. They'll do it without really thinking it through. Keep it simple with a sapphire. They don't want a lot of details and numbers and analytics. Tell stories, show pictures, that kind of thing. Dealing with pearls, begin by relating to them. Be very open with them. Like I said earlier, pearls can always tell if you're fake, and they will write you off. Because even though pearls get taken advantage of a lot, they're a very good judge of character. So if you come in there with a car salesman approach, they're going to see right through you. Slow your pace. So like if I was talking to a pearl, I would talk to him like this. I'd be like, what made you want to be a coach? Obviously you're somebody who cares about people. Tell me about that. Like, talk to me about that feeling you get when you help somebody lose 30 pounds. Do you see how the tone of my voice changes? You see, like if I come in there like this and be like, come on, man, we got to do this. And if I come in Ruby and I'm like, we got this group and I got these coaches, I'm going to do the 7-day training. We're going to get you going and blah, blah, blah. Pearl's going to check out. If I come in there like, oh my God, it's so much fun, blah, 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 Pearl's going to check out. If I come in there with pie charts and figures and the gross percentage rate and the Shakeology ingredients, Pearl's going to check out. A Pearl wants to hear about why and how it can help them help people. So if I'm talking to a Pearl, I'm going to talk the way I was talking a second ago. Never be overexcited. It overwhelms them. Share.
Add on to that.
Yeah,
Add on to that. That goes along with handshakes, body language, your tone of voice. Like you said, pearls are softer. Yeah, tell me about it. That's pretty cool. What is it that you like about it? Again, a pearl, I'm going to come up and be a very soft handshake versus an emerald or ruby. You're going to come up to them. Hi, how you doing? That affirmative handshake, things like that. Ruby, you're going to stand up tall. You're going to have good posture. You're like, yeah, this is exactly why you need to do it right now. A very firm thing. Again, with the emerald, it's going to be, yes, because that 22%, we're going to get that gross national product down, and we're going to save like tons of money, like probably $135,000 per minute. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's the different type of language that's going along. So you got to make sure, for lack of better words, mimicking what is it that makes that person that trait.
And you can tell I'm so glad you said that, because the handshakes, like John and I learned about the handshake stuff when we went to the second one. What was the second class that you take after First Steps?
I only went to First Steps.
But there's what's the class? What's the next one? Anyway, the second class you take, they talk about the handshakes, and he's right. So like when you shake a pearl's hand, when you shake hands with a pearl, it's like shaking a limp noodle. When you shake a ruby, a ruby's going to squeeze your hand to death, and it's going to be like, I'm the alpha male or alpha female, and you need to know it. A sapphire is kind of like, yeah, whatever. They're going to probably hug you before they shake your hand. And an emerald, how does an emerald shake hands, John?
I don't remember. I would assume it's pretty similar.
They analyze and they make sure it lines up right. And then I'm just kidding. Bart, my coach Bart, some of you may know, is a hardcore pearl. Ryan, love you to death. You're a hardcore pearl. You are a pearl through and through. Rochelle, you are a pearl through and through. You two are, I mean, that's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying you're pearls. You're soft-spoken. You're more laid back. You genuinely care about people. When you're talking to a pearl, you have to come across real. They can smell BS a mile away. And if you try to come in there with some sales pitch or these memorized lines, you're not going to get a pearl to bite. You're not going to connect with them. They love to hear stories. So, like, if I go in with a pearl and I'm telling stories about, like, Sierra, who comes to our fit club and how she's lost 20 pounds and she's a single mom and this and that, those are the kind of stories they want to hear. Emeralds. Emeralds, as we've said, are very detailed. So when you talk to them, like John was just saying, be very detailed in your conversation. That was a great example that he just gave about, yeah, we're going to save 2% on the gross national product and save $135,000 a second. And don't you agree? And that's the kind of stuff.
Yeah, these people want they want to know what every ingredient is in Shakeology and why what it's good for.
Use stats and figures when applicable. Explain why. And like, here's an example they give. And John's going to actually help me post some of this stuff in the group this week. So like, if I'm talking to a pro, I would say something like, you may be thinking, well, is this necessary? Yes, it is. Let me explain. So like, if I'm telling an emerald why they need to be on Shakeology, I'm be like, you may be wondering why I'm trying to get you on the Shakeology. Let me tell you why. It dropped my cholesterol 48%. My numbers went from 206 to 185. The doctor was so impressed that he then ordered it. He had never seen numbers like that before. And if I'm talking to an emerald, I can kind of talk in a concise, matter-of-fact kind of way. I don't have to do a lot of showcasing and all that stuff. All they want is the facts and figures. Show them how to get any answers that you don't know. So if I'm talking to John and I don't know the answer to a question, then I'm gonna say, you know what? I don't know, but I will get that answer for you, or I will email you the answer, or I will find it out, or I'll send you a link. Make sure you let them know that you're going to get them the answers if you don't have it. Be very thorough. The more information you can give them, the better, and tell factual stories. If you start coming with stories of emotion or stories that may be exaggerated, an emerald's not going to want to hear it. They want the exact, concise details. I kind of went over rubies already, but I'll read what she's got under rubies. Get to the bottom quick. Get to the bottom line quickly. Don't spend a lot of time chit-chatting. Keep it short. Show them how they can hit their goals. Show them the solutions to the problems. Give them the ability to do it now. They hate to wait. Rubies hate to wait. I am the most impatient person in the world. Challenge them to increase their lifestyle, make it about them, and tell results-oriented stories. So let me just read a couple of things that are on this page that John helped me find today in this book. So here's the things that you want. These are some steps that you probably need to write down, and you can go back and listen to the recording if I go too fast. There's 8 of them. Step number 1, form an objective. So basically, what is the outcome you're looking for when you talk to your personality type? Like, what if I'm talking to Ryan and I realize he's a pearl? What's my goal in the end of the conversation? I mean, the goals, you always want to walk away from the conversation with their information or some type of a way to follow up with them, which we'll talk more about when we get into forming. But have an objective, have an understanding. The fortune's in the follow-up. So whether it's going to be about challenge group or coaching, or maybe it's something completely non-related to Beachbody, but just something that you can follow up with, have an objective. Number 2, identify the benefits that person's going to receive and make sure you apply the benefits in their language. So like, if I'm talking to Ryan and I know that he could lose, if I say, okay, you could, or let's say Sierra, who's at our fit club, this black lady that's at our fit club, single mom. If she comes to me and I know that she wants to lose 20 pounds, she's a sapphire. So I'm gonna talk to her. And as a matter of fact, when we got her to commit to doing a challenge, the way I did it was I knew she was a sapphire. So I made it, and I knew she was a single mom. So my objective in that conversation and the way I presented the results that she could get was I talked to her about the other women that were in our fit club and how much fun we had and how supportive we were and how it was a group and how fun. And it was a group atmosphere. There were other single moms there. There were other women there. And I presented it in a way that a Sapphire is going to be like, oh, cool. That sounds like fun. I want to get engaged with this. So figure out, once you know their gym type, figure out how you're going to present the solution in their language. Ask a lot of questions. And we're going to get into this next week when we talk about forming somebody. So I'm not going to go into this in great detail because next week's call, we're going to go over this a lot. But ask a lot of questions. And we'll talk about that next week because that's a whole other call in its own, right, John? Or do you want to add anything to that?
No, there's a lot to forming. We should keep that as a separate call.
Number 4, tell stories and paint the picture. So when you're telling stories, you're going to tell the story in their language, the kind of story that personality type's going on here. Paint the picture. Number 5, use urgency and scarcity. If we're promoting a challenge group, and I'm talking about like when we do a challenge, like we're getting ready to do a May challenge for Max 30, but like last month when we did Money May, we were talking of what was the challenge pack we were doing?
Well, we weren't doing any certain challenge pack.
Oh, we weren't? Oh, that's right, we weren't. So like, all right, so like this month since Max 30 is on sale, we're gonna do this whole thing where we're gonna try to reach out to people that have already bought Max 30 from us and ask for referrals, and then offer them like a $10 kickback or something. And we're not sure what the details are yet, but we're gonna offer them some type of kickback or reward for referring people to us because we're talking to people that have already enjoyed being a part of our group with Max 30. And so why would they not want their friends to do another round with them? So we're going to target that. And we're going to, so we're just, we're trying to use some type of urgency, like the first 5 people that sign up get free swag. When the truth be known, everybody that signs up gets free swag. But I'm never going to tell them that. If I tell them the first 5 people that join the challenge or test group get free swag, then they're going to be more likely to want to do it quickly so that they can be one of the first 5. And they don't know that everybody ends up getting it and maybe that's just me being too nice, but I always end up giving it to everybody. So use urgency and scarcity when you're promoting this thing. Talk about if this is your first challenge group, say this is the first time I've ever done this, or if it's on the last day, like sometimes we'll post, hey, there's 2 spots left. Today's the last chance to get in. Number 6, make sure you have a call to action. So like we talk about Facebook and social media and stuff like that. We talk about not spamming people with Beachbody stuff, but like if you're going to post something, and Danielle talked about this in the social media training that you guys heard that are in that Diamond group, if you're going to promote something, have a call to action. Give them a reason to engage with you if it's on social media. Tell them to click a link. Tell them to like it. She talks about like let's say if I'm posting a picture of Sierra before and after and how she's lost 20 pounds, I might be like, click like to send a virtual high five to Sierra to show her how proud you are of her. Even though these people may not know who Sierra is, I've given them a call to action, as opposed to just going on there and posting something on social media and being like, here's Sierra, she's lost 20 pounds, isn't that wonderful? And of course, some people are going to like it and some people are going to comment, but you're going to get more interaction if you give them a call to action. Same thing with the conversation. And again, I hate to keep teasing next week, but we're going to talk about this next week in forming. The call to action is the M in form. It's the message. And we'll tell you what to do with that and how to have a call to action when you're wrapping up a conversation with somebody, whether it's 5 minutes or you've been talking to them through Facebook messaging or whatever. Number 7, be truthful. If you lie and exaggerate, it's always going to catch up with you and bite you on the backside. Instead, promote and edify by stating successes, no matter how big or small. And also be sincere. People see when you're real. So
I think this also ties back to number 5. You got to be truthful. Lying, exaggerating, if you do that to urgency and scarcity, that's going to bite you back, and people are going to go like, oh, you're that person, a little two-facey. So while you want to create that urgency, you got to be honest about it. Like, I'm looking for a couple people to get started. My deadline is April 30th. And that's a true story. I have to achieve it by this. And that's when that runs out. You don't have to tell them it's because I need my SC points, or I'm trying to do this, or, that's kind of the cool part with the promotions. Max 30, May 31st, it's done. I can't help you after that. You got to pay an extra $30 if you want it, So again, be careful with number 5. because of being truthful.
Yeah, and also like I've seen Beachbody coaches who I will leave nameless, not on our team, but I've seen other elite coaches. For some reason, it makes me cringe when I see Beachbody coaches post their money and how much money they make on social media. And I saw this one girl a year or so ago post a picture of her check, and she was like, "I made this amount of money in 1 week," and I knew it was a lie because I knew what that money was. The money was her weekly commissions plus her quarterly bonus
5-star and 2-star.
for 5-star and 2-star because I had just gotten the same check. And I knew that wasn't her weekly check, but she presented it in a way on social media that made it sound like this is how much money I make a week. And I knew it was BS, and it bothered me to see her put that out there because to me it's lying. Like that's why when I talk to somebody about coaching and they ask me, like Carrie used to, and Emeralds will ask you this question, so get ready for this. If you're talking to an Emerald prospect about coaching, one of the first things they're going to ask you is, how much money can I make? And they want, and like Carrie used to ask me this all the time because Carrie is hardcore Emerald. She would ask me, how long is it going to take me to make $1,000 a week? When can I make $1,000 a week? What do I need to do to make $1,000 a week? And as much as I would love to give her an Emerald answer, I can't because this business. I can't sit here and say that in 12 weeks exactly you're going to make $1,000 a week because it all is depending on what you do. You can make $1,000 a week in 3 months, 6 months, a year and a half. It just depends on the coach and the business and how they approach it and how they grow it. So, I mean, somebody can be a diamond coach and be making $1,000 a week. Somebody can be a diamond coach and be making $500 a week. Rank has nothing to do with it. So, like, those are hard questions. So you have to be honest with them when they ask stuff like that and be like, look, this is what's possible, but it's not guaranteed. It's all up to you.
Is it bad that I calculated that in my head what that looks like to do that?
No, you should have just told her to call you, John.
I know. I should have just told her to call you. Number 8, last one.
Anybody wants to know that answer, just call John.
Yeah, last one. Make sure that whatever you are promoting is in the individual's best interest. Do not use this tool for the wrong reasons. And you know what? Number 8's a big deal. And let me tell you why. And it kind of ties into number 5 and the other one that we were just talking about, what John was talking about. Like number 8, like if I met somebody that needed Body Beast or I thought Body Beast would be a good fit, I would sell them Body Beast. But I'm not a coach who, if Body Beast is the monthly special, I'm not going to go out there promoting Body Beast because it's not my niche. It's not my market. It's not genuine to me. It's not who I am. I'll be over Sean. I mean, I can do Asylum and Sandy and Max 30 and P90X and X2, X3 and Size all day long. She can promote Pio. I'm not a big Pio fan. You'll never see me do Pio or Turbo Fire.
Or 21 Day Fix.
Or 20. I mean, I like 21 Day Fix. I will sell 21 Day Fix because of the concept of it. I love the 3 weeks. I love the containers. I'm not a big fan of it because I don't like doing it. But like, it's like I don't mind if she's doing 21 Day Fix. I'll do 21 Day Fix with her. So 21 Day Fix, I think, should be for everybody. Everybody should promote 21 Day Fix because it's an easy 3-week concept for new people that have never worked out before. But you got to be genuine to who you are and who your market is. If I was on YouTube trying to do with Body Beast what John did, it's just like that's the reason why John's so good at Body Beast. That's his. I mean, he knows that stuff. He's great at Body Beast. He was in the Body Beast competition. Like, I mean, John, you talk about this. I mean, you kind of,
Well, it's interesting here you say that because that's where it's hard for me. Because of my background in education, I don't have a problem selling anything to anyone because of my extensive knowledge encompassing everything that we sell.
Right.
So to me, it's not a big deal. I know how to coach someone through it, let them know what steps are going to happen. And then from there, what should they expect? How is it going to affect their body? If they're having any issues with it, what could they modify to change to have a better effect?
Right.
Yeah, so that's where it's kind of tricky for me. But definitely, like I had a lot of success with Body Beast. I had a lot of success with Insanity. I don't particularly like Insanity, but it's something that everyone knows, and like, I get it. So that's where I don't know. It's hard for me to say that one because I know I'm probably different than most people in that scenario.
Well, yeah, but what you're saying is right. I mean, let me rephrase because maybe after hearing you say that,
No, but with his background,
I
like,
know,
that's
but
what
I'm
he's
saying what he's saying made me think about how I said it and the way I came across. So let me just add an asterisk to this statement. Is that when I'm forming somebody, which again we'll talk about next week, if I'm forming somebody and when you learn how to form, you're going to know which program to help them with. And it may not always be a program that is in your wheelhouse, but it doesn't mean you can't coach them through it. So what John's saying is dead on the money. If I'm talking to some guy that hates cardio and loves to lift weights and wants to be able to do it at home or wants to be able to take it with him on demand to the gym, and he's into that bodybuilding type of thing, here's what I would do. I would do one of two things. I would either send him to John and let John take him as a customer, or if I felt a connection with him and I bonded with him, I would sell him Body Beast and I would support him as much as I could, but I would also plug him into our group of coaches so that he would have access to people like John and Johnny Mancuso and other people that know Body Beast and love it and can support him. Just like some of you women who aren't big Asylum fans or don't do a lot of Asylum, you might run into a guy that was a former athlete who would be perfect for Asylum. And you can sell them Asylum, and then you can help, and you can say, hey, here's Todd. Todd's going to work with you, and I can work with them, and it'd be your customer. So I think there's a way for us to do it together. I'm just saying I'm not going to go out there promoting programs that aren't in my niche, but we can. That might be on sale, but that doesn't mean that I won't, like, you when you form somebody, you sell them the program that's going to fit their needs.
Right. Like if Turbo Fire's on sale, you're not going to see a Facebook post or an Instagram post from NC Fit Club going, join our Turbo Fire Challenge group. That's not.
I know what you want to say, John. Turbo Todd. Unless Turbo Todd came out, that's the only way.
No. I was going to say, what about? Oh my goodness, brain fart. Never mind. Come back to me later.
So yeah, I mean, it's like, and like that. This is like with size coming out. Size. Let's be honest. Size is geared towards women, and it's definitely going to be popular with women over men. But I'm determined, as a 40-year-old white guy who never could dance, to show guys that they can actually do it. So like, I want to be able to go on YouTube and post videos of us doing size because I enjoy it. And I want other guys to be like, okay,
Ruby,
try that, because nobody's going to see you. You can do it at home. And I'm going to be completely open and honest about that with the guys that follow us that do Asylum and Insanity. Now, I don't know how many of them will actually do it. And it'll be interesting to see how many male coaches on this team actually embrace size. I don't see a lot of guys on this team embracing it. And I think you would, I would encourage you to maybe to try to step out of your comfort zone and do it, because I think it's a huge opportunity for you to tap into the female market. Or if you're a married couple, let your wife run this side of the thing. Because I'm telling you, like, I can already tell a difference with her getting more involved with us. Like, we're noticing that, like, she's engaging with a lot of women that follow us that have probably been dying and waiting for her to get involved, and we're tired of my Ruby ass being the only one that they saw and heard from. So, anybody got any questions? Or John, you want to add anything?
No, definitely. If you have a group, a spouse, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, whatever, you can do different markets because, like, not surprisingly, geez, what an ass thing to say there. But a lot of our business is being driven because of people that love Debbie right now, my wife, and they get attracted to her. I support them in the group, and we just build off relationships from there. They would never have been interested if they saw me, but it's those personalities, that understanding of different people that attracts everyone. I don't know, that kind of went off cycle. You should not have let me talk tonight.
John's dealing with some vertigo. It's kind of funny to watch, but in a sweet way. I mean that in a loving way. Virtual hug. Oh, you're pretty. All right. So anybody got any questions about forming, about personality types or gyms? Anybody?
Well, here, let's do a roll call by hands. By hands, who thinks they're a Ruby?
Hang on, let me see if I can do a gallery view so we can see everybody. Yeah, here we go.
There we go.
So how many of you are Rubies? Raise your hand.
Again, this is a dominant characteristic because
Dominant.
obviously we're all split.
Wow, there's a lot of rubies. There's a lot
I
of people
can, I
who.
can see that. I agree.
How many pearls do we have? All right, Rochelle. Ryan, you don't think you're pearl? All right, I can't wait to see what you say. How many emeralds are in here?
I just didn't respond because you already called me out anyway. So
Are you? But honestly, do you think you're pearl?
I could see that. I could see that between Pearl and Price Sapphire is my backup.
What motivates you the most? If you had to pick one thing, helping people or a big old party?
Helping people.
There you go.
What would entice you more, a party or money?
A party with money.
Can't have it both ways.
Money, obviously.
Money. I think you're more emerald than sapphire. You're very organized. I never see you drive a dirty car. Like everything, I don't know. I think
And that beard's trimmed so nicely.
I know, right?
I haven't even got a haircut yet. That's tomorrow.
All right. How many of you think that you are? How many think you're emerald? Have we done emerald?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, and then how many think you're pearl? Just Rochelle, and maybe Ryan. Any other pearls? All right, how many people think you're sapphires?
Come on, Rivera, put your hand up. There you go.
Calling her out. All right, so that gives you an idea. I mean, it's interesting because then you can start, like, if you have kids or you're married or even your parents, and it's interesting, like, if you ever go to a Dani Johnson conference and you listen to her, she divides the entire room into the four. You actually,
She spends
the room
hours doing
is
this.
divided. So, like, all the pearls are sitting together and so on and so forth. And it's interesting to watch her interact with the different personality types. And it's interesting when you start digesting this about how your parents and the way you were raised and the personality types of your parents, how that affects the gem that you are. Because sometimes a lot of pearls have emerald or ruby parents, and they raise them in such a strict ruby emerald type of atmosphere that they actually rebel and do everything they can be to be opposite of their parents, when in reality they have a lot of ruby in them. It's funny how many pearls are actually rubies that either rebelled because they didn't like being a ruby, or they gave up because they didn't think they were good enough. When in reality, they're actually really hardcore rubies buried in there that have switched over to the pearl side. There's so many psychological things that you can get into when you start studying this stuff. That's pretty interesting.
What was interesting too is we took Carly to a Dani Johnson event and did the whole gems, and she sat with the sapphires and was totally
Hardcore sapphire.
totally in the sapphires. And it was interesting because when she started this beginning of the 6th grade, she came home and she told us every one of her teachers and what personality that they were.
And what?
So that was interesting because she's like, oh, so-and-so's a sapphire because of this. Like, she could recognize those personalities in her teachers.
And the other thing that's interesting about it, and the thing I loved about the fact that my daughter knew the personality types, was that if I ask her what personality type her teacher is, and she tells me that that the teacher's an emerald, then my next question to her is, okay, so how are you going to deal with this teacher? And she knows how to deal with an emerald. And she was in the 6th grade. And like she'd never, like, still to this day, we talk about the funny, like when she does something funny that's a sapphire trait, she'll either call herself out and be like, well, Mom, I'm a sapphire. So that
no.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I don't anymore.
She's right off camera. But anyway.
Can I say hi?
Sure,
Hurry up.
sapphire, say hi.
Hi!
See, that's a sapphire.
Hi, Carly.
That is a sapphire. If that was a pearl or an emerald, they would not have been forced themselves into the camera.
But let me tell you what's interesting about this, because me being an emerald, in the last 2 years, my emerald traits have rubbed off on her, because her bedroom, if you saw her bedroom, her bed is made every single morning. There is a place for everything. If you saw her closet, stuff is where it needs to be. Her drawers are the same way. So she has those emerald tendencies that she's gotten from me. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and it's when you start diving into it, and like if you want to start practicing dealing with personality types, start practicing with your family.
Absolutely.
Your friends and your family, your kids, your wife, your husband, whoever.
And the trick is to not talk to them like your personality, but communicate to them in their personality. So when I'm talking to Todd, if I come to him with facts and figures and this really long drug out story, he's like, get on with it. Like, you're taking too much time. Like, I need to talk to him as a Ruby. Where if he comes to me, I want to hear details. Don't just tell me you talked to this person today. I want to hear tell me what you said from start to finish. Like, give me the details. That's me.
I think I know why I'm a hardcore Ruby, because my mom is the biggest pearl on the face of the freaking earth.
Yes.
And every phone conversation with her is 30 minutes long, and I hear every damn detail of why she didn't pick up the phone when I tried to call her, and what my aunt's doing and what my grandmother's doing before we ever get to the damn point of what we were talking about. And sometimes I just have to say, Mom, I gotta go. Come on, what's the answer? I need to know. I gotta keep it moving. Love you, mean it. We gotta go. And like it's like gun to the head, pull the trigger. It just drives me crazy. But it's like,
is she a pearl or an emerald?
Oh, she's pearl emerald, but she's hardcore. She's hardcore pearl with a lot of emerald tendencies. She can do
perfect
that.
segue here.
Huh?
Perfect segue here.
What's that?
Whenever we're doing this, it's all about edifying the other gem.
Exactly.
So edifying means,
I haven't done a good job of.
which Todd, no, you've done a great example of showing what a Ruby personality trait is. Because like Alicia's learned it, at least, that she's very abrupt and like cuts you off so she can say a word, which is funny to watch. But I was gonna say, if this is something that really interests you, I'm gonna make copies of these pages so we can load them up as PDF. But there's another book out there, I believe it's called Love Languages.
Lillian's raising her hand.
The 5 love languages? Okay, yeah. And it's kind of the same thing, and it talks about better communication between you and your spouse, but then again, it's still going to tie into whoever you want to talk to. I think there was like love, money. I haven't read the book. I just know of it, and a lot of people said good things about it. So I just want to put it out there in case this is something that you're interested in.
And as a Ruby, I'm going to say that you should also buy Personality Plus by Florence
I like the Danny Johnson.
The Danny Johnson book's good. The reason why I say Personality Plus is because there's an actual test at the back of the book that you can take, and it goes into more
It's actually
detail.
at the front. Just saying.
Thank you, Emerald. It's actually in the front. It is.
And we can get that test online for free.
Yeah, and it goes into more detail about the strengths and weaknesses.
Because you like detail, right?
No, but if you're an Emerald, you're going to love this book. But I did read this book. Both you and John need to just shut up. I like this book, and I'm not a big reader, but I like it. And it's just, I don't know. It's really good, and it's kind of cool. And
it is funny. There's some stuff in there.
The person that wrote this book is a Sapphire, and she tells some really funny stuff. If a Sapphire writes it, you know it's going to be fun to read.
So.
And it's what a lot of companies is like the personality book that is used unanimously everywhere.
So if you get this book, you'll know pretty quick who the Ruby, which one's the Ruby. She uses different language, but you'll know who they are.
So the actual traits came from the Danny Johnson book.
Yeah,
The actual gems.
The gems.
These gems come from the Danny Johnson book.
Okay.
All the personalities are the same. It just depends on what author calls the gem, the ruby, sapphire, pearl, emerald, or with Craig Holiday, it was rhinos, owls.
Yeah.
All the different little 4 quadrant are named differently, but they mean the exact same thing. That's the difference.
Even like the disc, I know a lot of places use the disc, the DISC, in some places of work.
Is that the one that has the colors? Like there's one that has colors like red and different things and whatever. So,
Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? I'm impatient.
Or have you all tried to figure out if you're married or your spouse or significant other is the opposite of you?
Raise your hand if you know what your spouse is, and if they're opposite of you. Ryan, you ain't got no damn spouse. Unless you and Rochelle are married, that would be something else because y'all are 2 pearls.
I have a question.
Sure.
Yes.
How do you identify a gem type with a stranger that you've never met? I mean, other than a handshake, or did I miss that?
No, well, we didn't go into a lot. I mean, this is John. Help me out with this. Basically, a lot of it's going to be about the way they're dressed. Rubies will be dressed to the nines. Emeralds are going to be kind of and I'm not, John's not nerdy, but like some emeralds could be very nerdy.
A lot of emeralds will keep closed for a really long time.
Oh,
because-
yes, that's right.
Because we don't like to spend money. If it's 7 years old and it still looks good, like why
Yeah.
not wear it? Like why are you going to throw that away?
If somebody's rocking a members only jacket, they're an emerald. If a ruby's going to be dressed to the nines, have nice clothes,
Suits,
a sapphire is going to be flamboyant, not meaning
big earrings,
big earrings,
colorful
shiny
outfit.
colors. You know, they're not going to be dull. Pearls are going to be very nature dressed, like they're going to be low key. Nothing's going to stand out. They just want to blend
earthy
in.
tones.
Very earthy tones, borderline hippie-ish if you wanted to go that route. Their handshakes are going to be a telltale. The way
The
they
tone of voice. Yeah,
The
the tone of voice. Like the sapphire is going to be talking a mile a minute. They're going to be very excited about whatever it is they're excited about. Pearls are softer, more, slow pace. Emeralds are very sharp, precise. Rubies are very loud, very direct. You can't get them to shut up for anything. Things along those lines. It's just like I said. It takes practice. I mean, I would say it probably took me about 6 weeks to be able to identify them from starting out, to be able to talk to someone. It's going to take a little longer to be able to figure out how to speak into it. But again, it's how much are you going to practice? How much time are you going to take? And how important is it to you?
So what was,
Okay, cool.
what was interesting to me was, and I know a lot of you, I know Courtney works at a dental office, but when I went through this training, it was interesting for me because every patient I brought back, I tried to identify what personality that they were and tried to talk to them in their personality. So that's where I got my practice from, was just going, okay, this person is, they see me in the waiting room. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you got me today. Okay, that's a sapphire. So I need to be bubbly with that person. So just, a challenge, like just use your family. Just do it with your family to start with.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's what I started doing. Once I thought I knew what they were, I tried to mimic that personality to talk to them. And I tried to do that with everyone because that edifies them. That's you being respectful to them. It's not making fun of them, which sometimes when you start off, it'll kind of feel like, oh, that's fun. Okay. But because it feels unnatural to you, but it is what is natural to them, and that is respectful. Obviously, don't be like, "Ooh, that's fun," and then then it's gonna be like, "Why are you being a jerk?" I don't get it.
Right, and Danny Johnson at her training did such a good job putting herself in each personality. Like it was amazing to watch her go from a sapphire to a pearl to a ruby to an emerald. It was interesting.
Adrian, can I ask you a question? Because I don't know if you were on here when we did the thing. Are you a ruby?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I knew you were a ruby when I talked to you on the phone last week.
Yeah, I just keep it clean, keep it simple, keep it short. Tell me what you want me to do, I'll do it. Don't give me a whole song and dance.
Yeah, and I knew, and like when I heard you, the minute I knew you were a ruby was when we were talking to Adrian before he signed up, and he was like, "I'm ready to kill this thing. I'm ready to get my wife home. I'm ready to do this. Let's go."
Yeah.
And then don't get mad at me because this was a genuine offer, but I also knew that it would motivate you as a ruby. So Adrian's a big NASCAR fan. So as soon as I knew he was a ruby, I'm like, I know what carrot I'm hanging on the end of that stick. And I'm like, as soon as you go diamond, we're flying you to Charlotte. And we're going to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I mean, and I genuinely am offering that, and I want to do that. So it's not like I'm trying to manipulate you.
A pearl, you say that to a pearl, they're gonna be like, "I'm good."
But I knew that would motivate you. Like,
oh yeah. I've already got some things going. I've already sold a challenge pack.
Yes.
21-day fix, and I got 3 people interested in the Shakeology HD.
Boom.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of ruby coaches, so it's nice to have a ruby coach.
And saying that, because you're a ruby, you're not going to have a lot of rubies because you have a lot of people that want to just follow
rubies attract followers, so it's very rare to have a lot of rubies together. So it's because rubies want rubies, trust and believe. Coaches.
Yeah.
I
hear you.
Out.
That's funny you said that, Todd, because the only reason I went with you, because I had to switch a coach, was because we did challenges and stuff. That was fun.
And since we're being open and honest, it's why you and I talk more than you and Alicia talk.
That's true, huh? But that's also why I switched to you guys, because all of your YouTube and motivation. You guys have got a lot of good motivation, let me tell you. I even got some of my family following you guys on your NC Fit Club Facebook page.
I appreciate that, man. I have this feeling I just made John mad, or he didn't know how to take what I just said.
I didn't understand it.
No, I mean, like, because, like, you and I are similar personality types. You and I just seem to connect better than you and Alicia.
No, you all are not similar personality types.
But
You're
he's
opposites.
got Ruby in him.
See, that's so funny because Todd, you always say that you want to convert me to Ruby so bad.
Because it's the best. Don't you
But
know?
I'll be honest though, there's positive and negative traits to all the personalities.
Yes.
And I have a lot of bad traits of Emerald and a lot of bad traits of Ruby and not enough strong ones in each side. So it makes life very difficult for me.
All right, we'll digress to carry on
Yeah.
that conversation later. What up, Kiddo Perez? All right, well, I'm just giving you hell, John.
We need to kill it. We're all drunk off of time here. We need to kill it.
All right, guys, we will see y'all next week. Next week's gonna be forming. It may be a two-parter.
But we want to hear. We'll start off with some stories on the personality types.
Yeah,
and how
here's your homework. Next week, you guys start off the call with telling us how you practice on gyms and what you learned about yourself and other people. We want to hear at least one story from each of you.
And definitely come back to this call and listen to this audio again until I get the PDF put up, so you guys can listen to us a little bit and really listen to what Todd was saying to take notes on what traits are there for each personality.
And he will have it in a spreadsheet by the end of the week.
No, we're Xeroxing.
All right,
Man.
good. Whatever works.
Hey, just letting you guys know, I just checked on the site. It's the book is free with $7 shipping.
Good. That's what I thought. The Danny Johnson book.
Yeah, shopdannyjohnson.com.
Yep.
What's the name of the book?
First Steps to Wealth.
Okay, thanks.
That's what it looks like right there. John's holding it up.
And it is literally her first steps to success in a book.
It's an amazing book. Her story is amazing. You'll get so much out of it besides just gyms.
Cool.
All right, guys. See y'all next week, and we'll talk to you.